Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
A shooting that happened just outside of the downtown Raleigh police station. Coming up, what details we have from authorities so far.
And we could learn more today about what caused a plane to crash and kill 2 people in Chatham County, where the plane was headed before the crash.
And it is going to be a hot week, but it's all about what's happening with the humidity. Tolerable right now. I'll show you if it's turning tropical or comfy coming up.
And Bryson DeChambeau is celebrating his second major victory after a very close win and exciting finish at the U.S. Open in Pinehurst. Happy Father's Day, belatedly, to all those dads out there. Watched that over the weekend, had a good time with it. Welcome to your Monday now. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey in for an H2. What a win for him. I mean,
crazy.
So exciting. And the action's not over yet.
Right. No, it's super, super fun. What an exciting finish there at Pinehurst. We'll recap that. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now. It is a little quieter there behind you now.
It is. They still have all the lights up, so I couldn't resist, just showing it because I know it's something people are going to be talking about today. They are watering too. Boy, they are working on those greens and on those fairways because it has been dry. We have more dry weather in our forecast. 73 degrees right now, but our dew point's sitting at 61, which does put us right in the nice category in terms of our dew point and the way it feels outside. Temperatures are in the 60s and 70s heading out the door. 72 in Southern Pines, 67 in Clinton and Goldsboro, as well as South Hill, but 72 degrees right now in Roxborough. Hour by hour, temperatures will climb into the mid 80s by lunchtime. We'll see a high of 90 for this afternoon. It's going to feel a whole lot like yesterday, but of course we're going to be seeing some changes in our dew point and our humidity. I'll show you whether it'll feel worse or better this week coming up.
And we do have breaking news we are following right now. A man is hurt after a shooting near downtown Raleigh. Police were called to that scene just after 1 o'clock this morning, and WRAL's Heidi Kirk joins us live right there from the Raleigh Police Department. Heidi, investigators were on that scene for a few hours now.
Jeff, good morning. And that shooting happened just blocks away from where we're standing at the Raleigh Police Department. That scene cleared a couple of hours ago, but we had crews on the ground. Take a look at some of that footage. Now, there was more than a dozen police officers on the scene, and what we know so far from Raleigh Police is that one adult male was shot. That person has non-life-threatening injuries. And Raleigh Police have confirmed no suspect is in custody. Of course, this is an active investigation, and we're going to be trying to track down those details for you. And as soon as we get those into our newsroom, we'll make sure that you are informed. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Today, we expect to learn more about a small plane crash in Chatham County that killed 2 people on board. The FAA plans to release its preliminary report today on what caused that crash. The State Highway Patrol identified the victims of Friday's crash as a flight instructor at McMillian Abernathy of Beach Mountain and his student, Justin Strauss of Raleigh. They crashed near the Siler City Airport. They had taken off from Raleigh Executive Jetport in Sanford, and the NTSB's investigation into what caused the crash is expected to take months.
A local landmark in Johnston County is recovering from a devastating fire. Smith's Farm Market in Benson is closed for business after fire destroyed a barn that was filled with farm equipment and nursery offices. The fire broke out at the farm on Sanders Road around 3 o'clock Sunday morning. Crews from more than a dozen fire companies responded to it. The business owners say they are now focused on cleaning up. People from the surrounding community are coming forward and showing their support.
They are precious. They are heart of this community, this place right here. Everybody comes and enjoys it, and all the cars line up.
The business owners say they hope to have the market back open in the coming days. A GoFundMe campaign set up by a frequent customer has already exceeded its $5,000 goal.
Police say they're looking for a motive after at least 9 people were shot in what appears to be a random shooting at a crowded recreation area in Rochester Hills, Michigan. This happened on Saturday. An 8-year-old boy and his 4-year-old brother are among the victims. The suspect, 42-year-old Michael William Nash, was found dead with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound at a nearby home. Police say he has no prior criminal history. As of this morning, 2 of the victims are in critical condition, 7 are unstable.
A man drowned while fishing with friends at Jordan Lake over the weekend. Authorities say he waded into the water and then disappeared. Chatham County Sheriff's Office identified the victim as 25-year-old Pradip Bujo. He is in town with friends from Charlotte, and this is the 4th drowning WRAL has covered at Jordan Lake in the last year. Chatham County Sheriff's Office recommends people wear a life jacket while you're in Jordan Lake. They also say you should swim only in designated areas. Supervise kids closely and be aware of the water conditions and your surroundings.
Durham police are investigating a homicide after a body was found on the side of the road. A driver reported a person lying on the side of Wrightwood Avenue around 12:30 Sunday morning. When officers got there, they found the man was dead from several gunshot wounds.
Goldsboro police say they arrested a man who stole an ambulance at UNC Health Wayne. Police say the suspect drove the ambulance into UNC Wayne's front parking lot Saturday night and deliberately hit a Goldsboro police patrol vehicle. He then stopped the ambulance and officers arrested him. The man faces charges that include assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, among other charges.
2 people are displaced after a fire on Pony Road in Zebulon. Firefighters were called out to the home at 12:30 Sunday afternoon. No one was hurt. The cause of the fire is under investigation. And the Israeli military announced its plans to pause in its offensive along a route in southern Gaza so that humanitarian aid can pass through. The tactical pause will last from 8 a.m. through 7 p.m. every day until further notice. The military says the pause was decided on after discussions with the UN and international aid agencies. Fighting will continue in the rest of southern Gaza.
Bryson DeChambeau is riding high after winning the U.S. Open Championship at Pinehurst No. 2. He beat Rory McIlroy by 1 stroke. It was DeChambeau's second major victory. He won the 2020 U.S. Open at Winged Foot in New York. DeChambeau celebrated with fans after his win, walking his trophy through the crowd there.
And several local golfers made the cut at this year's U.S. Open, including Wake Forest's Ashkay Bhatia. He finished the championship tied for 16th.
Type of golf course and this type of test makes you, hit shots so you don't hit typical. At tour events normally we have softer greens and bigger margin for errors. This week it's small margins and can get away from you pretty quick.
The U.S. Open offered a record-shattering $21.5 million purse this year. So here are some of the biggest payouts. Bryson DeChambeau gets a $4.3 million paycheck. Rory McIlroy gets $2.3 million. And Tony Finau and Patrick Cantlay each get $1.2 million.
Wildfire in California is forcing people to evacuate their homes. Why firefighters are having a hard time fighting this.
And an American tourist has been found dead in Greece. What we know about the latest in a string of cases of tourists dying or disappearing in that country.
And we'll give you a live look this Monday morning. North Hills. We have a hot week ahead of us, and Elizabeth Gardner has a look at that 7-day forecast coming up next.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
441, and we're taking a live look at Apex this morning. All is quiet across our area. We're looking at mainly clear skies right now. Checking temperatures heading out the door. It feels pretty comfortable in most places. We're looking at some 60s out there. 64 in Lewisburg, 68 in Tarboro, 66 South Hill, 67 in Irwin, a few 70s out there too, 70 in Rocky Mount and Goldsboro, 72 degrees in Southern Pines. A little bit of fog showing up there in Fayetteville potentially, so we'll be on the lookout for that. Walking the dog this morning, temperatures upper 60s to low 70s, and the humidity is on the comfortable side. Now, we'll talk about how that will change. We actually have some, it's going to be a hot afternoon, don't get me wrong. Temperatures this afternoon looking at 90, but some dangerous heat potentially by this coming weekend. I'll show you what that could look like and feel like coming up.
Strong winds and steep terrain are causing problems for crews trying to fight a major wildfire in Southern California. A fire called the Post Fire has quickly grown to more than 23 square miles. More than 1,200 campers, off-roaders, and hikers have been forced to evacuate the area of north of Los Angeles. It's the first major fire of the year for the LA area. No injuries have been reported. The cause of the fire remains under investigation.
Fayetteville police say one person died after a car crashed into a pole on Murchison Road and burst into flames. It happened shortly after 4 Sunday morning. The driver died at that scene. Their identity has not been released. The FAA is investigating after a Southwest Airlines flight plunged toward the ocean near Hawaii. The incident, which happened on April 11th, came to light Friday after Bloomberg reported Southwest sent a memo to pilots. Flight tracking data shows the Boeing 737 MAX 8 dropped at a rate of more than 4,000 feet a minute. At one point, it flew as low as 400 feet before then rapidly climbing again. According to Bloomberg, the memo indicated a newer first officer was flying at the time and inadvertently pushed forward on the control column.
More than 175,000 convictions for possession of marijuana may be wiped out today. The Washington Post reports that Maryland's governor is expected to issue the pardons. The action would forgive every misdemeanor charge for marijuana possession as well as related charges. Maryland legalized the use of recreational marijuana in 2022.
Today marks 30 years since the slow-speed chase that captivated the country. Police followed O.J. Simpson's white Ford Bronco on Southern California's freeways on this date in 1994. More than 95 million people were watching live at home. The chase ended with Simpson's arrest. He was charged with murder in the deaths of his ex-wife Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman. That happened 5 days earlier.
A disturbing story out of Georgia. Officials say an inmate used a gun to kill a kitchen worker at a prison before fatally shooting himself. This happened around 4:30 yesterday morning at the Smith State Prison in Glenville, Georgia. That's about an hour from Savannah. The Georgia Department of Corrections issued a statement saying Jadrakis Hart fatally shot 24-year-old Ariane Grace, a food service worker, in the prison's kitchen. Officials say Grace had worked at the prison since January. The agency is investigating but did not say how the inmate got access to a gun. This is the second murder of a staff member at Smith State Prison in less than a year.
A missing American tourist has been found dead on an island in Greece. His name has not been released. It's one of several recent cases in which tourists on the Greek islands have died or disappeared after going for hikes during a blistering heat wave there. Another American tourist remains missing on the island of Amorgos. Authorities say 59-year-old Albert Calabet of Los Angeles vanished Tuesday after going for a hike. A British TV presenter and author was found dead last week after going for a hike. A 74-year-old Dutch tourist was found dead in a ravine Saturday after a search that lasted almost a week. And 2 French women were also reported missing on another island Friday.
A lawsuit over school calendars could have a major impact on school year start and end dates across our region. Parents and businesses sued the Carteret County School Board for voting to start the next school year 2 weeks before state law allows. A judge sided with the plaintiffs and ordered the county to push back the start date. The school board is appealing. Lawyers tell WRAL's Education Insider that an appeal could lead to a decision that affects the whole state. Right now, 24 school systems plan to start the next year early. That includes Harnett, Lee, Person, and Sampson counties and Clinton City schools in our area. You can read more about the case at the education section of WRAL.com. Well, at least 2 people in the U.S. have come down with a rare drug-resistant flu variant. According to a new CDC report, the variant has 2 concerning mutations in places that could lower the effectiveness of certain treatments like Tamiflu. The CDC says cases of the dual mutant flu variant were identified in 15 countries. However, experts say the threat is low. The CDC says lab testing suggests that other antiviral treatments are still effective, and the flu shot could also offer protection.
Princess Kate says she is making good progress in her cancer treatment, but stresses she has a long way to go yet. Kate made her first public appearance in months on Saturday. She joined her family for a military parade to commemorate the king's official birthday observation. In March, she revealed she's been undergoing treatment for an unspecified form of cancer.
The Outsiders is the big winner at this year's Tony Awards. The adaptation of the 1983 movie took home the honor for Best Musical. Daniel Radcliffe also had a big night. The former Harry Potter star won the award for Featured Actor in a Musical for his role in Merrily We Roll Along.
4:47 the time right now on our Monday morning, and another hot week on the way here. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. 90 again today.
Yeah, looking at 90s, low 90s for the next several days, but we're watching the weekend very closely. We could have some dangerous heat over the weekend. We take a look at what's happening in downtown Raleigh. A little bit of cloud cover out there this morning in a few spots. We'll see mostly sunny skies once we get to mid-morning and through the rest of the afternoon. It's a warm start, 73 degrees, and our wind is southeast at 3, so we just have light winds out there. But our dew point is still fairly low. low, sitting right around 60. So that makes it feel a little bit more comfortable. As long as that dew point is in the low 60s, it just kind of takes the edge off. Now, that is going to change as we get into the weekend. Look at this beautiful photo. Thank you so much to Mallory Huchin for sending this in. Beautiful sunrise there at Oak Island. And it was a nice weekend around here, wasn't it? WRAL.com. Go there, search Weather Watchers, and you can upload some photos. We would love to see what's happening in your backyard. Around town today, looking at a high of 90 in Raleigh, 89 in Durham, and 91 in Fayetteville. It is going to be a summer feeling day, going to be a great one to hit the pool. I know a lot of schools are out at this point, and you may be looking for something to do with the kids. The pool is going to be the place to be. 61 is where our muggy meter is sitting right now, so that puts us solidly intolerable, almost down to comfy. That's where we'll see what we'll see for the next several days. But once we get into the weekend, we're going to see that starting to climb along with the temperatures, and that's going to make for some dangerous conditions. Notice by Friday and Saturday, we're up here into the tropical zone. We add temperatures in the mid to upper 90s to near 100 to that, and that could put us in danger of seeing our first heat advisory of this season. That could happen over the weekend. Here's what's going on right now. We have high pressure that is pushing in some air from the coast, and interestingly enough, typically, if it's coming definitely out of the southeast or south, we tend to see a lot of moisture along with it. But this is actually still coming out of the northeast, and it has some dry air along with it. So we're going to see some dry conditions all the way through around Wednesday or Thursday. Then on Thursday, we start to see the next wave of moisture that's coming out of the southeast, and that wave of moisture is likely to push us right on up and bring that moisture back in. See that dark green shaded area that starts to head our way as we get closer to Thursday, and that's going to bring in a lot of tropical moisture. So we have heat all week long with highs in the 90s, but we're going to see more like upper 90s for the weekend. So the 22nd through the 26th, so that includes this weekend, a good chance of above normal temperatures, not just for us, but for most of the country. And we're also under the potential for heat risk, major to extreme heat risk across our area for Friday. That will continue into the weekend as well. So Friday 94, we're at 98 on Saturday and 99 on Sunday. We'll talk a bit more about when that heat could break down coming up.
Thanks, Elizabeth. A World War II mystery of what happened to a Finnish passenger plane has now been solved, where divers found that wreckage more than 80 years after the plane was shot down.
Plus, the sequel to a popular Disney movie is shaking up things at the box office. How well Inside Out 2 did at the box office in its opening weekend. Welcome back on your Monday morning. This is a live look over Apex. Quiet out there for now. Temperatures going to reach the 90s later today. For the latest from Tinseltown, here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nicole Kidman.
It's Nicole Kidman's big night. The 49th AFI Life Achievement Award, a tribute to Nicole Kidman, airs tonight on TNT. The Oscar-winning actress is the first Australian performer so honored by the American Film Institute. Some iconic movie props went for big bucks at the latest Tinseltown auction. Hollywood legends Danger, Disaster, and Disco saw the illuminated dance floor from Saturday Night Fever top the auction, selling for $325,000. An original Ark of the Covenant prototype from Raiders of the Lost Ark went for more than $101,000. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman costume brought in more than $114,000, her tiara $76,000, and her bracelets of submission $91,000. Julianne's Auctions and Turner Classic Movies put more than 1,300 items on the block for the event. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
A dive team in Estonia says it found a plane that was shot down early in World War II. The divers say they found that plane about 230 feet underwater near Estonia's capital. It's believed to be a plane that was shot down by a Russian bomber in June 1940. The plane was carrying 9 people, including American diplomat Henry Anfield Jr. He's considered one of the first American casualties of the war.
Inside Out has Hollywood upside down after upending expectations for an opening weekend. Inside Out 2, the sequel to the 2015 animated movie about the inner workings of a young girl's mind, brought in $155 million in its domestic opening box office weekend. It was estimated to make only about $90 million. It's the second biggest three-day weekend all-time take for an animated film. Inside Out 2 also took in $140 million overseas as well.
Developers of the popular board game Settlers of Catan are releasing a new version touching on the effect of climate change. In Catan, New Energies, the players choose between renewable energy and fossil fuel-based power plants. Fossil fuels may allow a player's society to grow faster, but they'll also create more pollution, which will cause problems. The game's developers hope it'll show how society can transition to more sustainable energy.
This morning on Today, actor Kevin Costner will be in studio for a live interview. He'll talk about all things fatherhood, Yellowstone, his new project Horizon, and more. Today airs at 7 o'clock right here on WRAL.
Speaking of Kevin Costner, his movie Bull Durham came out 36 years ago this week. Over the weekend, the Bulls shared some behind-the-scenes pictures of that filming that took place at the DBAP.
That is such an iconic movie. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, where they play now isn't where the where the
right.
original in the movie and all that was filmed. But
it's so cool to see like the Durham Bulls hats and stuff though, and the uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, and it's still people still wear those throwback jerseys, throwback hats. All that's great.
Yeah. All right, well, we are following some breaking news in Raleigh. A man is hurt after a shooting near downtown. We have video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. We'll have the latest.
People in Arizona had to leave their belongings behind as a wildfire rages near Phoenix. How many homes have been damaged?
And Gordon Ramsay has a message for people. Wear your helmets. The recent bike accident that sent the chef to the hospital.